Alright, so this is a video for tutorial for VCP 218, Introduction to 3D Modeling and Animation. Basically, what I'm going to cover in this one is just basic sculpting techniques that you can utilize for Maya and Mudbox. Okay, so here what I have is just a basic model that I made. It's like meant to be actually like a level. So this is actually a person size, so it's meant like you're like a miniature person, and you would kind of go through here and you can see there's like a dog house and this car. But anyway, which, you know, you can see it's kind of low poly. So everything's meant to be low. So what I'm going to do is just show you how to send something to where you want. So right now everything's got just a generic Lambert on it, right? So the thing I'm picturing on sculpting, I'm thinking is just, because it'd be a good example, is this flamingo, right? So you can see it's kind of low poly. Again, I like to, especially with video game things, you always want to make them low poly. So first off, what I'm going to do is actually make sure I rename it. So I'm just going to call it Flamingo 01. Actually, we'll do underscore 01 underscore GO, so I know what it is. And now what I'm going to do is on this object in particular, because I'm just going to send this one to Mudbox, sculpt it there, and then send it back here. So I'm just going to right click on it, and I'm going to assign a new material. And we're just going to do a blend because blends are the most generic, easy ones to do. So I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to call it Flamingo underscore MAT. And I'm just going to adjust some things so it's not going to be reflective. It's going to be kind of plastic. So take specular roll off down, take the specular color down a little bit. So it's got a little bit of a sheen, but nothing too crazy. I'm just going to make a generic color just to start with. So I should leave that there. And alright, so we're going to make it kind of go a little bit this way. Okay, so that's giving me my flamingo color. Alright, but I need to make sure I have that material set up before anything else, okay? I also want to make sure I have my flamingo name so that when I send it, everything's nice and clean. The other thing I'm going to do is, I don't know if it's set up, so I'm just going to go to Windows, UV Editor. Let's try that again, Windows, UV Editor. And I'm just going to make sure, and it went to the other side, so hang on a second here. Come on, Wacom. Go to the other side. I'm pushing the button. There it goes. Okay. All right, and come back. Good. Okay. So if you look, you can see basically that I do have it kind of cut up, but it could be cut up a little bit better. So all I'm going to do real simply is I'm just going to do the automatic mapping. So I'm just going to UV automatic. You can see it here. I'm just going to go to UV, and I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to hit this little button, which should hopefully shuffle it. This one right here looks like Tetris. Should hopefully shuffle a little bit better. Obviously, it's better to hand do this and make sure it's all nice and dandy, but for our intents and purposes, that will do. Okay, so that's good. So I'm just going to make sure I'm back in object mode. All right, so just right-click, drag up object mode. Make sure you got the object selected, and I'm just going to go to File, Send to Mudbox, Send as New Scene. And you can see it's starting to make this pop up, and we'll leave that on, and I'll hit OK, and voila. So here's our flamingo. Okay. So last time I was showing you paint layers. This time I'm going to click on the sculpt layers. Okay. And you can do sculpting in Maya, but it's still not quite where it needs to be. Okay. Okay. So I got this guy in here. So the way this works is like this. For one, you should try and use a tablet if possible. You'll have a lot better results with that. But I'm going to leave, I can sculpt on this right now like this. But what's not good about this is that it'll do it directly to the model. What I can do instead is I can make a layer. Actually, what I'm going to do first is subdivide this, okay? So by hitting Shift D, it will subdivide it. Okay, so if you look, if I hit W, you can see the wireframe. All right, and then I think it's Control D, let me see. Okay. And then to go up and down is page up and page down. So page down will go down a layer, page up will go up a layer, but it'll only let you go on to what you've already subdivided. So you can see how it's subdivided the model, right? So that looks fine and dandy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it again. I'm going to Shift D, and you can see now it's subdivided again. Okay. And I'm going to make a layer now. And I'm just going to call this adjustments. Okay, so this is just to generally adjust the entire model. So I usually like to use grab on this. Okay, so we're just going to go like that. So B is my brush size, and I'm just going to try and make this a little bit more dynamic. Let me just double check. Okay, so I don't have mirror on either, so I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna put mirroring on, and I'm gonna do X. Okay, and that way it should do it. Okay, that didn't do it. Local, nope. Local Y, local Z. Okay. So you can see, because it's not on center, you can see where the grid is here. The other one wasn't working, so I had to do local. Okay, so now I'm going to try and do some adjustments. Okay, so just want to make this look a little bit more dynamic. Obviously, it's a so I'll make this a little bit bigger. It's you know, it's a plastic flamingo, so it doesn't exactly have to be perfect. But just going to make, you know, major adjustments where possible. I'm picturing this neck could probably be a little bit bigger. Let's pull that down. I'm just using B to change the size. Okay, pull this back this way a little bit. B could probably be a little bit larger, and we're going to pull this way to get a little more like that. Navigation style is the same as Maya. At least that's what I have it set to. But you can obviously do more. Okay. So we're going to call that good as far as that's concerned. I'm thinking its body needs to be bigger in general, so I'm just going to really try and yank this. Alright, so, and we're going to make them a little bit fatter here too. Oops. It's weird. How come it's not giving me... Oh, local Z is what I wanted. I don't know why. That means it's all crooked. We're just going to work with it. For whatever reason, it didn't do it correct. Actually, okay, so this is actually why it's nice to have these layers. So I have this layer up here. I can actually turn this layer off, and it'll go back to what the original is. Or I can actually change the strength of it, so you can kind of fade it in and out. Or, if worse comes to worse, I can delete it. So I'm just going to make a new layer, and I'll call this one Adjustments again. And I'm going to try again, and hopefully it will stay on local Z as I'm working. All right, so... I'm just again using, you know, the generic adjustments here. So, all right, let's make this a little bit smaller and pull this. Oops. Okay. All right, and we're going to make this beak a bit bigger. Pull this over, kind of pull this up, and blah, blah, blah. All right, and I think I would like this neck to kind of come this way a touch more. All right, and let's see, this could be a little bit bigger as well. Just gonna pull that out to make that a little bit fatter. All right, pull that down. All right, so that's the grab tool, and that works pretty well. The other one is just the sculpt tool. So well, B it's brush size, and M is strength, so up and down. So you can see the little line there. So I'm just going to pull this down a little bit, and I'm just going to kind of sculpt on. If I hold Shift, it's smooth. So I'm just going to kind of sculpt up the surface, and then use smooth in between. You want to constantly be smoothing your model as you sketch. Okay, so I'm going to draw a couple strokes like so, and then I'll use hold Shift to smooth. Okay, so I'm going to draw a couple strokes. Okay, and then I'll hold Shift to smooth. You can see I'll make this a little bit smaller. Maybe make it a little bit bigger, and then a couple of strokes. Okay, like so, and then Shift to smooth. All right, and then we'll put a little bit in there. I'm thinking the beak could have a little bit more fullness. All right, put some in here. Okay, all right. So we'll call that kind of good. Shift to smooth, like that. All right, Shift to smooth. All right, good. All right. Now, if I want to go inwards, you just hold Control. So that makes it a little bit smaller, just so you can kind of see. If I hold Control, it actually pushes in. I don't know if you can see that, but it pushed in as opposed to out. Okay, so I'm going to call that adjustments. Now, what I'm going to do is make another layer, and I'm going to call this anatomy. This is usually how I break things down. Anatomy. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna subdivide it some more. So it's easier to make big adjustments on lower res, and then to make detail adjustments on higher res. So I'm just gonna hold Shift and D to subdivide it, and 2 is probably good. So now I'm on level 4, and I am going to sculpt some more. So now what I'm going to do is start trying, I'm going to go to fall off here, and I'm going to make this sharper. So I'm going to click on this sharper one here, and I'm actually going to hold Control and try to cut in where I think that wing would be, okay, like so. All right. All right, and then we will kind of cut in here. Obviously, it'd be better if I had the illustration here, but we're just going to kind of roll with it here. So I'm not worried about getting too detailed. So after I draw a line there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Shift to smooth. I'm trying to smooth this back end here because I want this part to be flat and kind of recessed, as opposed to the other part, which I wanted to be up. So I'm going to draw like that, and I'm going to, oops, okay, let's make that a little bit, I'm going to change my fall off to be more round now, and I'll be, oops, thought I held B, and I'm going to add a little bit in here, okay, to kind of make this wing fill up a little bit, and I'm just going to hold Shift to kind of smooth. All right, go up here and make this a little bit bigger again. I'm going to make some bigger adjustments here. I'll hold Shift to smooth. All right, and I'm going to hold B. There you go. Okay, and then we're just going to, okay, and I'm just going to draw in like a wrinkle kind of thing here. I'm going to hold Shift to smooth. I'm going to smooth it on this side of it. All right, and then we'll do another kind of wrinkle here. Hold Shift to smooth. All right, you get kind of a, smooth that out too, so I'm just holding Shift. All right, and then we're gonna add some more in here. Okay, again, so hold Shift and generally smooth this out. I'm gonna hold Control and kind of cut this in a little because it feels a little strong. I'm gonna hold Shift to smooth. Good. The leg should probably have a little bit more of a area for the leg to come out. Shift to smooth. Right in here, right where the keel is, usually it's pretty strong. Okay. All right, so that looks okay. Put a little bit more in here, kind of like a gizzard thing. All right. And I'm gonna go in here, and I'm gonna hold B and make it a little bit smaller. I'm gonna hold Control and kind of cut in a little. So you can see I actually went inwards on it, okay? And then I'm gonna add a little bit here. Okay, and then I'm gonna hold Shift to smooth this out. It's kind of sloppy, but I think you get the idea. Then I just wanna add a little bit of this. I'm gonna hold Shift to smooth. All right. And then we're gonna go in here. I'm gonna make my fall off tight again, and I'm just gonna cut in this beak. So I'm gonna kind of bring this in a little, and we're gonna cut in what should be the mouth here. I'm bad at this. Alright, so you gotta see like that. I'm actually gonna cut this in. Oops, come on. I'm gonna cut this in. So I hold Control because I'm going inwards as opposed to outwards. I'm gonna smooth this side of it. Let's try that again. Okay, smooth the inside. Good. Alright, great. Alright, I'll cut in a little bit here, and then I don't know if they even have a nose hole. They got it, right? Okay. Kind of cut that in a little. Alright, so I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. I'm gonna go to the normal fall off, and I really should probably look up the picture of it. I would highly suggest that you do. I just didn't because I don't know, I'm lazy. Alright, and we're gonna smooth that out. Okay, so I'm gonna call that more or less my anatomy. Alright, so I would do a much better job with it than this, but for the purposes of trying to make things a little smoother here, you know, to get this done faster, I'm going to do it like that. Okay, so, oops, I thought I had Shift down. Okay, so we're going to call that good for now. So next I'm going to do is make another layer, okay, and I'm going to call this one Details. Details, all right, and I'm going to hold Shift D, and we'll do one more, okay? So usually 6 or 7 is usually the highest on a typical model. I'm gonna turn W off so I don't see the wireframe anymore because that's not really helping me. And now what I'm gonna do is start trying to sculpt some details into this, okay? Now you can use, just like we used stencils and stuff before, so I could use this or any of these in order to try and make this look more feathered. But I am going to just hand do it because this is actually, oops, gotta go stencil and turn that off. This is actually not that sort. So I'm just going to use my fall offs and just kind of hand do it because this is just a plastic model. So I'm going to hold B and make this smaller, and I'm just going to more or less kind of cut in feathers. Okay, so I'm holding control. All right, and I